hit it like a freight train.
Mother Nature's been knocking on winter's door for the last couple weeks, and I think that door finally opened. We've seen a lot of rain, barometer jumping around, wind. We've had snow up in the mountains, and I believe literally not only here on the Delta, but all the rivers and lakes in Central California are in a state of flux right now. So with keeping that in mind, we'll take a look at a few pictures, and then we'll get right into the report. All right, I want to thank everyone for watching. This is the In Deep on the Delta weekly fishing report for October 16th. We've got just a couple of tournaments to let you guys know about, and then we're going to get into the report. First tournament is up at Clear Lake. It's the Yamamoto Team Tournament, October 25th at Canocti Vista. This is a tournament for both boaters and kayaks, so they have two divisions. Call Clear Lake Outdoors at 707-262-5852. We've got a Bass Hole Team Open Tournament coming up October 25th and 26th, and this is going to be the high and low roller format. So whether you are a weekend angler or a seasoned pro, you will have a division to fish for the Bass Hole Team Open. If you have any questions, give Rob a call out at 925-813-9485. And the last thing we'll talk about, we'll call it River News, is if you have been looking for the Delta merch, I've been out of the hats, but they should be in hopefully this week. So if you're looking for a hat, give me a holler, and I'll make sure you're able to get one of these beautiful In Deep on the Delta hats. Still have some merch here at Paradise Point if you're launching. And for most of the t-shirts and most of the long sleeve shirts, I have them in most colors and most sizes. So if you're looking for that, check it out, and don't be afraid to go out and get some In Deep on the Delta merch. All right, with that, let's talk about what's going on up and down the valley a little bit, and then we'll get into the Delta. Central Valley lakes and the Delta are all pretty much the same. With this barometer jumping around, everything is kind of in a state of flux. It's going to be reset. So what I'm talking about today is going to be, history by next week, way back when history. It's going to change a lot in the next few days, depending on what the weather brings and what the barometer is doing. So Central Valley Lakes, again, Clear Lake, they had the Bass Cat Open tournament. That was the Bass Cat Owners Tournament. Big congratulations to Christian Ostrander and Mark Lassane, a couple friends of mine, and they're friends of In Deep on the Delta. So congratulations, Chris and Mark. Not great weights up there. They had a 2-day total of 38.6. Day one they had 21 pounds. Day two they had 17 pounds. And tough fishing conditions. Sometimes a one-day tournament is one with 38 pounds up there. So 38 pounds for 2 days. Good enough to win, but not great. The middle of the pack was right around 11 pounds per day. I had talked to Christian leading up to the tournament. I was actually going to go up there and fish with them last week, and he said, you know what, it's just not good enough to come up and have a fun day. Obviously, he had found a few fish by the end of the week, but he reports that it's pretty slow up there. I also talked to Joey Price. He fished the tournament. I think Joey was somewhere around middle of the pack, and he kind of confirmed that the fishing was slow up there. So that is Clear Lake, and we'll talk to Dave up at Clear Lake Outdoors sometime this week and see what happens, what it's going to look like for next week. Don Pedro, I talked to Aaron out at Central Valley Bait and Tackle. They had a recent tournament up there that was won with 17 pounds. Again, not a bad weight for this time of year, but just very mediocre. Middle of the pack was around 7 pounds for that tournament. Aaron's talking about he's seeing a slowdown up at Don Pedro. The one bright spot maybe in the Central Valley may be Tollick, especially if you're a kayaker. Aaron was up there, took his kayak up, did pretty well at Tollick. He felt that the fish were a little more active at Tollick than they were at Don Pedro. But we'll see what's going on up there, in the next week or so. And also, if you are up in the Modesto area, Central Valley Bait and Tackle just got a shipment in of megabass stuff and a lot of Kitech. So if you're looking for any of that or wanting to go in or learn about more about what they're doing over at Central Valley Bait and Tackle, give Aaron a call at 209-312-9417. Let's talk a little bit about the Delta. And we're going to start off with salmon. Now, what I have seen out here in the Delta, the water has been higher because we've got a flush of water coming in. Water temperatures, I have not been out since Monday. And water temperatures were still holding about 68 degrees. So I'm suspecting that 68 degree temperature is going to either drop or raise a degree or two depending on the weather. The water clarity has not changed a whole lot, but with the rain, I'm sure we're going to get a flush of stuff that's being pushed down the river, a little cleansing effect on the Delta. And also you might notice that the farmers are going to start pumping out their islands. And when they do that, they pump a bunch of, I'll just call it chocolate water. It's very nutrient rich water that gets pumped into the Delta. It's dirty, but it's nutrient rich, which a lot of times, as you know, you guys, especially the striper guys, as these fish start to move, the stripers start to move more and more into the Delta, especially the Central Delta where they do a lot of pumping. Fishing around those pumps might not be a bad idea. Don't fish the chocolate water, but fish on the outside edges of them and around them. That's where the bait will congregate, and the stripers will find the bait. So what's been going on? Let's give you a little salmon report. We've all been looking for salmon the last couple weeks. I've heard a lot of fish being caught up around New Hope, an occasional one being seen here and there. A lot of fish or fish moving up the Sacramento River. I talked to Rob Cloutier from the Bass Hole. Rob's saying that he is finding salmon in the backs of these sloughs where most of us bass guys generally fish for salmon. So with this water, fresh water flushing into the bay and the ocean, everybody that I talk to that knows anything about salmon has a feeling that there's going to be a big run of salmon coming up here. With that being said, check your local regulations. The last regulation that I know, the McCallum River above Terminus was open to salmon fishing, 1 fish limit. But I highly recommend, and I think that was going to change at the end of October, but these regulations can change at any time. So before you go out, check the the Department of Fish and Game page and make sure you know all of your regulations. Let's talk a little bit about stripers, and there hasn't been a lot of reports in this last week. I guess the one shining report that I got was from Jeff Suhu from Suhu Sport Fishing, and Jeff has been doing good. He's been doing well. He's been getting good numbers with a mixed bag of quality and kind of keeper style fish or keeper size fish. Jeff is fishing, in his words, far west. So I would imagine Jeff is fishing. I didn't ask him exactly where he was fishing, but I imagine he is fishing from Pittsburgh out west. There's a lot of fish out there, and Jeff is using live bait. The folks that I generally talk to that are throwing bigger baits, striper baits, and chucking baits, that's been tough. The topwater bite has really dropped off, and the fish have moved deeper, and Jeff has confirmed that the fish are deeper. I did talk to Joey Price, who is usually out there chucking and winding different artificial baits, and he confirmed that the fish are deeper. His topwater bite has died off quite a bit, and he's had to move around just to find fish. I talked to Joe from Core Fishing. Joe has been catching fish for the last 3 or 4 weeks. He confirmed the same thing. Number one, the central delta here, I'll say between the city of Stockton and out to Prisoner's Point, that's been tough fishing. There are fish out here, but they're not in the numbers or the size of fish that are out at Sherman or out on the Sacramento side. Joe from Core Fishing has been saying that Sherman Lake has, that's where he sees the biggest numbers of fish. He has spent a lot of time this week out at Liberty. There's fish in Liberty. They're a better quality of fish, but there's not as many fish. So how that resets after this, we get this flush of water, we're hoping that a lot of those fish that are maybe from Grizzly Island, Pittsburgh, Antioch, they're going to flood into both the Sacramento and the San Joaquin River. As I said before, if you're in the San Joaquin, you might have to fish a little deeper. For you guys that have been throwing a lot of topwaters, that's been a tough go. You might want to drift live bait if you're looking to bring one home for to make some tacos or have a dinner with. But all in all, you want to go with baits that are going to run a little deeper. Start with your paddle tail swim baits, 5-inch paddle tail swim bait, maybe an A-rig, maybe a lipless, a rattle trap, something like that. Something that you can get down to 10 or 12 feet. And I can tell you that just going up and down the channel and fishing, I'll say the Old River, Middle River, Mildred Island area, there seems to be a lot more fish on or near the channel where you have moving water into points. There's a lot more bait, and one thing I can say is this is the time of year you really want to start looking for birds, because as I'm moving up and down the channel, you see these active pods of birds. They're not spread out like they were a week or two ago. They're kind of in areas, the bait's there, the birds are there, the fish aren't going to be far behind. So with that, take that for what it's worth. It's going to be changing big time in the next few days. So last but not least, let's talk about the largemouth bass. And that has definitely showed a slowing trend here on the Delta. They had the BBT tournament last week, Saturday and Sunday. 88 boats, 2 days, 38 pounds won. They had a big fish of 7 too. So we're talking, 17, 18 pounds per day won the tournament. But midfield was 7 to 8 pounds per day. And there was a lot of guys that failed to even weigh in. A lot of guys had 1, 2, or 3 fish. They weren't weighing in limits. Talked to Rob Cloutier, a lot of the guys that were stopping in the shop, talking about the BBT tournament. They struggled. It was a struggle out there. But hey, congratulations, 38 pounds for 2 days isn't bad, but you know what the Delta can produce when it's going. So I will say this for the Delta: the daily potential changes every day. So one day it can be really good. You hit the weather right, leading into a front or something. You can still do really good out here. Now, I will say one thing: wherever you're fishing, I would say this week stick around your home waters. If your home water is Don Pedro, this isn't the week to run up to Clear Lake. Or if your Clear Lake's your home water, it's not the week to run down to Don Pedro. Stay close, use your confidence baits, and it's probably going to be a little grind with a changing situation wherever you go. And that is especially true here on the Delta. I was out with Coach Ted Monday, and we had a pretty decent day, but man, it was a grinding day. And when I say we, I want to talk about a team effort. And in this team effort, Coach Ted put I think he put all of the good-sized fish in the boat. And Ted was able to pick up 5 fish that I think were, I'll say, between high 2s and mid 3s. And let me show you what Ted was catching them on, because I was using a jerk bait, throwing worms. What else did I throw? There was nothing going on at topwater. And one thing let's break into this right now and say, if you're trying to get out for a morning topwater bite, I would say don't do it. Fish later. If you want to fish till the evening, you probably have a better chance of, at least if you're fishing topwaters, of getting some stripers. But the topwater bite has not been existent. Sorry I got into that. Ted caught all of his fish on this little Z-Man Micro Mini chatterbait. It's this guy here in green pumpkin, and the trailer on that is made by Missile Baits. It's a little 3-inch trailer, and that's the one that literally caught 5 nice fish for Ted, our team. We'll call it our team, Monday. We probably ended up with 30 or 40 fish, but geez, you know, that jerkbait could not get a big bite on that. I was getting a lot of bites on worms and creature baits, and they just weren't picking them up. I was missing a lot of bites. Talked to Rob. Rob says that if you want bigger fish, you're going to probably have to stay with that flip bite and the punch bite. No matter, you know, you don't need the sun blaring down. These fish are relating to cover still, and the ones that are the bigger fish that are biting seem to be, you know, in that cover, just waiting for kind of a reaction bite, something that falls in front of their head, and they'll pick it up. It's not fast fishing. It's kind of grinding out, but I think that's what we're going to be doing here in the next few weeks. As we get into winter, we're going to get into the Delta winter grind. So with that, hopefully next week, as things reset, I'll be able to give you any patterns that may be happening out here. And fortunately, I think the pattern that we're going to be seeing is a wintertime pattern. So with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you do get a chance to get out, send me a report, good, bad, or ugly. Send it to scooper9561032@gmail.com. I love to hear about them, especially when I'm not doing well. It's good to confirm that everyone else is not doing well, if nothing else. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Good luck.